Okay, good morning or good evening from wherever you've joined us from today in the world. My name's Sarah and I'm the Program and Event Manager at the Reactor in Sydney, Australia. Welcome to a Microsoft Reactor Sydney livestream event. Just a reminder that today is a Teams meeting, so when you're joining, please do keep your mics and camera off, and Kirsty will go through this a bit more in detail in a second. I would like to welcome back Kirsty McGrath, who you can see on screen here. Kirsty is a 4-time award-winning Microsoft MVP, the founder of the Australian Microsoft 365 Adoption User Group in Sydney and Melbourne, and author of the Office 365 infographic, which you can see a little bit in the background there behind Kirsty. So Kirsty leads OnPoint Solutions, an Australian training and adoption practice that maximises Microsoft 365 ROI through efficient use of technology, particularly centred on productivity, communication and collaboration improvements. Today's session will be discussing best practice personal, team and content task management with Microsoft. You'll see in the comment section I have already put the check-in link with the event code 14979. So all the resources that you see at the end of Kirsty's presentation, you'll be able to find that through the check-in link. So just enter that event code through the AKA link, and that event code is 14979. We will be speaking for about an hour with 10 minutes for questions. However, do send us your questions throughout in the comment section and we will answer as many as possible. We'll also share with you a link to our feedback survey with the same event code. And if there's anything that you'd like to reference back from today's session, you can do so on our YouTube channel. So this will be uploaded within the next 24 to 48 hours. So you can go back and reference anything that you've missed. But for now, I'll hand the floor over to Kirsty to begin. So thank you so much and over to you.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Sarah. It's always great to be back with running these productivity sessions. They've certainly reminded me of some of my own best practices that occasionally can start to slide off a little even on our own. So if you want to actually chat with me, ask, or if you need to answer a question, then please just go up to the little show conversation icon up the top and you can type in there anything in particular that you might to ask along the way, or something you might have had a challenge with that you think that I might be able to help with at any point. If you do wish to come off mute, sort of maybe at the end you might have some questions, then you can raise your hand. Don't forget there's also some really great little reactions in there. You can use your emoticons to say, yay, I like that, or a thumbs up, or give me a, I love it. Okay. Cross fingers, you will get a little bit out of the session, even if you learn a few things new. I will tell you a little bit about how I've done it and why I have done it that way as well. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and to pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people here today. So I am Kirsty McGrath. Yes, thank you very much, Sarah, for the introduction. If you need to, and in the links that you've actually been provided, you will see there the adoption user group should you wish to join. Our next session coming up, we always have it generally on the first Tuesday of the month, sometimes the first Friday of the month, because that's what we would often hold in Melbourne. So sometimes I'll swap it around. We're going to have Rishi Nikolai coming in and talking about the Mocha framework around adoption for Microsoft 365. So if you wanted to join, and I always do the what's new because often there's a lot happening across the 365 space. So I'll always do a quick 15-minute intro of what's new to this space. I am a certified online learning facilitator, so I do training. I'm a change practitioner and as part of the group. This is what I'm actually doing. If you've been on sessions with me before, you know I'm a bit of a cake decorator, so I just do it as a hobby, and in my downtime, I'll get creative when I need to shut my head down from all of the tech. This requires a lot of task management. We'll talk a little bit about that. So this is sort of what I'll be doing. These are the latest ones. Here's some of the ones that I've been doing through lockdown. This one I only did and finished on Sunday for a girlfriend's birthday, the really big sort of sea theme, or sort of sea coral theme. So this kind of gives you a bit of an idea. And to do that, I often have a lot of different things I've got to get or create, or things in a very specific order that helps me around task management. So I'll come in, we'll talk a little bit about that along the way. So what does your task management actually look like? Now, I've seen a lot over the years. I mean, I have trained over 180,000 people. I've done a lot of task management, a lot of OneNote, a lot of, how do you do this? Outlook in particular, very popular one that's been running for a long, long time in terms of training. So I would often see the whole, days of old, you've got literally Post-it notes and you've got paper books where you got them stuck in, papers shoved in as well. I will see them where you've got your Kanban boards, but your Kanban boards are done on literally, a whiteboard where you got all the little sticky notes or you've handwritten, then you can't actually move things around easily. You're having to rub it off and write it somewhere else. Or I've walked through hallways. And I have done this a lot because I would go in and out of many organizations, sometimes in a day. So I would see these boards around where littered across the floor below them was the Post-it notes. It's like, so where was that supposed to be that's sitting on the floor? And they just laugh and go, they know in the meeting, they pick them and put them back up, and they'll get the sticky tape out and stick it to the board as well. And I go, right. Awesome project management. There are such better ways now of working with task management, not only from a team building or a project management or even a personal. So you've got the professional and you've got the personal, a personal for literally your personal life and personal for business. So we've got kind of a lot of different facets of which Microsoft have an ecosystem to be able to support, whatever it looks like for you when it comes to task management. So we'll have a look at their system software around it. You might have it where your to-do list is literally, nothing. And there's nothing more satisfactory than crossing something off on the list. So I see a lot of people will say to me, I just type everything that I've done this week, just so I have the satisfaction of crossing it off. And I go, well, imagine the satisfaction if you put it in on what you needed to do and you then crossed it off rather than the past. Let's have a look at the future, okay? So what we want to do is get to the point where you're actually hopefully starting that practice now. Let's have a look at what that looks like. Now, I love organizing. Organizing is my favorite thing to do. So some of you may not know, but in my past life, before I went out and I started doing program and project management and getting into adoption, I was an executive assistant. So I was a PA exec, reception. I started, way back, a junior secretary, as we used to call me, a junior secretary back in the day. I was only very young. Organization was a big thing for me. I was even working at Microsoft and I used to look after 6, sometimes 7 senior leaders. So when I had to look after task management, not just for me, but a lot of times for them, I had to be phenomenally organized. I worked at Telstra and looked after 4 senior leaders. So for example, there I looked after the lead of sponsorship, the lead of brand, the lead of advertising, and the lead of media. Sponsorship alone, you think about Telstra sponsorship, huge. Okay, so being organized and knowing what I need to do is important. And in task management, it's all very well and good to put a task on a list, but just flagging something is very passive. You want to get it to stand up and just be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more excited and start to give you things like notifications. Okay, so we'll have a look at how to take things a little bit more to the next step. So if we look at the ecosystem, what can you use? Look, there are so many products. Even to the point of, is it task management? Is it document management? Or is it, going into the project? The task and the project management, if you're on the project management side of things, you might be using Excel and project for the, online or on your desktop, for example, so you can get into something like that. And there are lots of other great products out there, apart from the Microsoft ecosystem, that you could be using. And then you've got sort of the more, business orientated when it comes to your team management rather than the full on sort of project. Project, you're going to be looking at Gantt and charts and things that are all kind of following one thing from the next to the next. So it's got what do you need to do before you do something else as part of, that kind of conditional task management. We're not going to be discussing those things today. We're going more down into the sort of the more general personal and team tasks rather than the full-on high-level project management technology. Planner does do sort of those team projects, but it goes to only a certain level. So Microsoft have it that it goes, at what point do you need to move to the next level of task management. So that's really important to understand, because someone goes, well, why would you use that over that? It's like, well, ask yourself, well, what do you need to do? It's like all things. It's, there is a level. It's no different than any other technology you're going to find out there in industry. At some point, that is not going to cut it. If we use even just notes on our mobile phone, like on our mobile phone, iPhone, for example, there's only so far it's going to take you before you got to go to the next level. So I often get, well, which one? And it's like, well, the big question is, well, what are you trying to do? It's no different than any other technology. Okay. So in terms of what we're going to be diving in a little bit more on, when we want to use the different apps for our work management and to try and do it efficiently, we have for our individual task management to do. Then we go into, for example, Planner. Planner goes more into your team task management. Now, tasks in teams is kind of a place where both of those come together. Okay, so it's a place inside Teams where you're going to be able to see the two of them rather than having it Planner completely separate. It will bring To Do the app in and join it with it. To Do, I find, is my task management heaven. It's where all things come together for me, of all that tech all flow into one spot, whether it be some other tech, and we'll go into that in a minute. Now, lists is very much about information tracking. So it's kind of that document or pictures or it's list. It's kind of a list tracking. Now, it can go a whole step further than Planner can, because behind it is a lot of things like you've got all your automation that can come into play to be able to support you, because lists is ultimately in the back end, it's SharePoint technology. It's been around for a really long time. So you've got this whole design flow that can come with it. So understanding how that all kind of flows through, often I'm working through Teams as my hub for my work management, but it depends on what I'm doing and where I'm doing it from. Okay. And hang on a second. Okay, what about our Outlook tasks? That's kind of where we started from when it came to task management. It's still there. And I'm going to show you how I still use it and how it then flows through and up into this other technology. Now, the hard part was when it came to task management in the past, we kind of couldn't get to our Outlook tasks when it came to our mobile phone. So there are things like, well, how do I get to my tasks on my mobile? And I'm going to show you a little bit about that on our mobile phone. I'm going to present my mobile phone for you as well along the way. Okay. So if I had to then say, well, what am I going to look at? What am I going to choose? We've talked about the individual. We've talked about the team tasks and individual team information in lists. So I actually had the Microsoft product manager come and speak at the adoption user group. It was back in June. So a link to that one is going to be provided for you. It's all in the links. If you go back in our chat, you'll be able to see the resources links with a code to be able to get to it. Okay. So I've put in there, and you've got in there the link to the user group where they're specifically talking about lists and when it came out and what that actually looks like. Okay. I also have there from the modern commenting teams what you can do and what's actually come up in terms of some of the task things that you can do off the back of even commenting. When it comes to OneNote, there's other features and functionality that's flowing through soon as well in terms of tasks. So there's a lot of ways that it might all feed into one spot, and I will demo some of that in a minute. So our individual tasks. We have, that curated day, kind of my day list of things that are going to be due. It does give you smart suggestions, which is great, and I'll show you. It is integrated into Outlook. Same as Planner is also integrated down into To Do. So it comes up and the tasks actually come up in your task list across Outlook and To Do. So it all kind of feeds down. It will give you scheduled reminders. It integrates your tasks and I can share it with others. Now, To Do is very much about the individual. Do you put your own personal at home, tasks in To Do? The great part is I can actually have both my business and personal email addresses plugged into To Do. And it is an app that's across your desktop on your mobile phone, and it is linked inside of Office 365 as an app. Now, planner is those team tasks. So this is part of a much larger team effort. It gives you a Kanban view of your boards. So, with that board view, it allows you to be able to help. There are ready-made lists and labels and checklists, for example, with built-in visual charts. And it's a view then in terms of being able to see either the task just assigned for you or as a team to be able to work through your day. Your lists in terms of the individual and then also team information is about tracking sort of larger ongoing work efforts. It's a list that you can as I have said, around rule-based automation in the back end. So you can take it that step further. When it comes to using InList, it's got quite robust templates in the back end, and there's a lot of new features that are coming out. So if you keep an eye out on the Microsoft roadmap, you'll start to see some of the really great features and functionalities that is flowing into Microsoft lists to be able to support you with some of these ready-made templates. So you've got all these really great diverse scenarios to be able to help and support you. Okay. And I'll come back to some of the things around lists to understand how it differentiates from the basics of to-do and planner. So I'm going to get out of here now and let's go over and have a little bit of a look. I'm going to start from the actual app itself. Then I'm going to flow over and show you what it looks like up in Teams and Planner. So I'm going to start down from some of the personal. Okay, let's have a look. Down the bottom here, if I minimize all that, I can see down here I've actually got my little to-do tick. Now I've pinned this onto my board down the bottom. If you were trying to find it, you can go to the Microsoft Store and actually download the to-do app. I can type my okay, and I'll just press enter and it will also open and I can then pin it down the bottom. Now my to-do app. What you can see running over the left-hand side here is I've actually got my login at the moment is based on my personal, my business account, and I can also swap over if I need to my personal account. So I can have more than one, okay? Making it just that little bit easier for you. So let me just do the sign in, and I've got a ton of different ones, of course, as quick as I have signed in. Now, it'll just do its quick sign in so that it actually syncs everything there. There we go. Right. So what I have here is I've got my day list. And as part of my day, I have some little suggestions up the top here. This means that each day I can sort of go, okay, based on all of the things that I've got going on across all of my different lists, I can kind of go, what are the suggestions that I might want based on what's available for me to go, these are the things I need to focus on today. So I can walk through and go, okay, I need to make sure that I have actually got started. Now, I'm really going to probably do this more tomorrow, but I need to think about it today. So I might go add it in today. And if I can't finish it today, that's okay. I can actually push it over till tomorrow. I want to have a look at the Yammer benchmarking report that's come out recently by Swoop. So I can just start to add these things into my day. But how do I even get it so that it even comes up in suggestions in the first place? So let me close this down. Let's have a look. Where does all this information actually kind of feed in? And Microsoft is like, to-do is like my manna heaven of all of my things that I actually need to do because everything feeds up into it. So I've got stuff that's okay, well, how does it come up as important? You'll see here, it actually tells me. It was in my flagged email and I was actually marked as important. So this is flowing up from my Outlook. In things that are in planned, well, what's in the planned? Now, planned is different components and where it's coming from, I can start to see a lot of this is flowing in from emails. So I've got my little email icon. I've got other ones that are based on today. Now, these ones here have actually all come in because I've gone and created something new. So down the bottom here, I can add a task in for today. So these are all different ways that I can do it. Now, I could have done this across my day. I'll come back up. In my day, I've got add a task. In important, add a task. Planned, add a task due today. So it could be, do up all 2021 November invoices, for example. Now, as I start to get this information in, you'll see down the bottom, I've got, what are some of the other little components? A little quick here. So I go due to date. Well, is it? No, I actually want to focus on that tomorrow, or I could pick a date. So I've got it in here. At the moment, it's passive. This means it's not going to give me a reminder. It's not going to kind of stand up and slap me about a bit and go, come on, Kirsty, you need to start thinking about this. So I might want to make sure that it's a little bit more aggressive, I suppose, and not quite slap me around the face, but it'll start to give me little notifications. I could go, okay, later today. Well, when do you want the notification? Give me the notification tomorrow morning to remind me I really need to get started on this. Okay, we're at the beginning of the month of December. I need to make sure November's all up and running. So cross fingers, maybe I'll get paid before Christmas. All very important, we want to get paid. Okay. Now, is it something that I actually want to have as a repeat? Now, if I was going to do it as a repeat, I'd probably want to make sure do up all monthly invoices instead of 2021 November invoices, because it's going to be on repeat. So I'd have a think about it. That means that probably, if I wanted, I could say, remind me on the first, Monday of every month to do my invoices as a business. I go, right. So if I've done that and it's all finished and ready to go, I just then go, yep, enter. And it's going to go in as part of my list to do for tomorrow. So I have all these different ones. Here it is here, edit for tomorrow. I've got also my little star. This means I'm going to mark it as important. Yes, it's important. So if I mark it as important, it's now flowed up into my important list of something that I need to do tomorrow. On my list, I can start to have a look at all. Now, because I'm often running lots of different projects, I can look at all my past completed as well. So maybe I accidentally ticked one off. Now, things that are actually assigned to me. When it's something that's assigned, it's a little different in the way that it actually flows through. This means that it's coming through in terms of the assigned to me. That's from Planner. Okay. When it's coming in from Planner, that's more team tasks, something that's been physically assigned. You'll see how now it all starts to flow in. Something that's coming through from flagged emails. And then I've got other tasks. Okay, so this is literally all the various tasks that are flowing through from my task list, of which important has flown up to the very top. Now, these are some of the business ones. They're all kind of coming in from different places, and we'll go over into Outlook and we'll have a look at what it looks like on our mobile phone as well. When I've got my tasks, I also have in here things like I'm going to go on a trip to Brisbane. Now, on that trip to Brisbane, it was when we could do the flow through between, and it was one that I actually had shared with my daughter. I was so lucky. I was going to get in a car, and at the time it was with a 3-year-old, and there was a whole heap of things that we needed to have and be ready for the trip to Brisbane. So I then went, okay, what are all the things that we need to do? Get the car and get ready. Okay. Yes, Jessica, it does pick up the stuff from OneNote. If you set it as a task, and we're going to show you exactly that. Hey, thanks for the segue over into OneNote in a minute. So on our trip to Brisbane, these are all the things I want to do. When I was moving house, what do I need to do in terms of moving house? I just plot it all in the list. Things that I wanted to do once I had moved into my house. I've still got a few things on the list. I'll get to them, okay? And then I've got all my value-based directions. These are things that I work with my coach. Often I've just got my mobile phone and I'm not even on my computer when I'm actually doing a lot of this. So let me show you then what it looks like when I'm on my mobile phone. So I've got here, let's just minimize everything down and I'll bring it up so we can see it. All right. I also have on my list a daily reminder, drink water, drink water, drink water. And I didn't probably, hang on. There it is over there. And I put it away. There we go. See, drink some water. Okay. I'm going to be chatting away for a good hour. I'll get dehydrated if I don't. All right. So drinking my water, yay, I've got to get through 2 litres. I've got still a long way to go for my day. Now, this is from my phone. Same thing. I have all of my lists. It all flows through, looks exactly the same. And as part of this environment, if I come up to the top and actually click on KM, I've got all these sort of different features and functionalities, the same as what I have on the desktop version. Add new task to the top of the list, move start task to the top of the list. Is that what you want, for example? Completion sound. So I've even got the satisfaction of a little ding to say, you've done, woohoo, okay. I've got shortcuts in here, lists, what's important as a part of this. Is it actually a connected app? So here's your flagged email. Is it connected or not? Planner, is it connected or not? All focus features that you can actually put in here to be able to support you. Okay. So I could work my way through and say, yes, that's what I want as part of it. Okay, so that's all in there. Same deal. No different. Even from my main screen, see down the bottom here, I've got new list. So if I've actually got council pickup is planned for me in a couple of weeks' time. So I will put things like this into a list. Now over in my personal, I also have, and I haven't got them sort of listed out in here, is some of the stuff that I'll be doing for my cake decorating. Okay. So down the bottom, in the bottom right-hand corner, what do I want? A new group even, for example. So I could start to bring in new groups. This is then have people that I could invite into that group. So this is on my mobile phone. Let's flow over and then start to have a look at how I get some of that stuff in from Outlook. I'm on my mobile phone. One of the great parts about Outlook and the new Viva technology is the graph that sits in the back end and some of the AI that comes with it. So I actually had my daily briefing come in from Microsoft Viva going, get ready for today's session. It's got my best practice, personal team and content task management. You'll see here are the files that I actually would need. Have I done this? Am I ready? And some of the tasks that I might want to have from my list is all flowing in to Viva to be able to help support me to remind, as well as other tasks that I've got flagged in emails or you've stated, for example, I'll get back to you tomorrow. So Viva will kind of trawl through and look for hints to say, did you follow this up? So I can add that onto the list of things to do. So if I came down here, I've got a little remind me. Okay, with a plan, remind me. Yes, so now that's going to go onto my task list and yeah, remind me. And that has saved my bacon. I couldn't tell you how many times. Edit task in to do, remind me. Next week, remind me on a date. Remind me. And I go, yeah, sure, remind me, and I can put in. Now it's set at the moment for Thursday, and I can adjust this here. So whether I'm using my mobile phone or I'm using my desktop, let's come over to Outlook here. Now on this, so say for example, I want to go and follow up and have a look into the new Microsoft Teams Essential solution that's actually been bought out by Microsoft. Now I can just click on the little flag. All that's doing is flagging it. So it will put it on my list in to do. But if I do a right click or I come up to the top here, I can do a little bit of a follow-up or open up the email to do a follow-up as well. Another one I could do, apart from clicking on the little flag icon or right click on the flag icon like I did up the top, add that reminder, stand up, slap me about a little bit, okay? Or I could do a drag and drop onto my little task icon down the bottom. So if I do a drag and drop, you'll see it will then go into my task list. What do I want to do? Set a date. I'm going to have a read of this. So I might have a look at it a little bit more on Monday. Or maybe I needed to do it today because I actually want to push it out on social media, for example. Okay. Save and close. Now, if I bring up my to-do list, so I could do this a variety of ways. On my view tab, I've got my to-do pane that I could put over on the right-hand side, along with my calendar to do drag and drops, for example. Now, I could have also done a drag and drop over to there. If I put it into today or tomorrow, it would directly drop in to wherever it is that I want it to go. Okay. So this allows me to then start to follow up and drop it in where I want it to be with a drag and drop. Quick and easy. My task list that's from here, what I've got is information that's going to flow down from Planner as well as, so I've got lots up here that I can actually have a look at, flowing from planner, flowing from tasks. I can see if it's got a reminder. This is all sitting over in my task list in Outlook. And you saw all of that flowing all up into to-do. Okay. So when I say to-do becomes my manna heaven of all things task, this is why, because I have one place now that I can go to have a look at my task management. And on my mobile phone on the go, I don't have to worry about it. I can literally just go through and go, right, okay, what have I got to do? So I'll be sitting there in the morning and I'll have 30 minutes of potential follow-up. I don't need to kind of struggle on my mobile phone around some of the emails or some of the functionality. I have to then, I've got all my project management when it comes to clients and things that I might do across Planner also flowing into to-do. Okay, so great app for personal productivity. So this is about you. Now, another thing that I would also do is I could have a listing to do that's around one-on-ones for my senior leader. And that senior, because what I can do is I can actually share that list with another. So as part of sharing that list with another, so if I came back, let's go, even if I just bring up the to-do app. So say it was any one of these. So if I go a new list and it was one-on-one, let me just rename that, right click, rename, here we go. So this is my one-on-ones, for example. So on my one-on-ones, I've got my task, how are we going, are we keeping up to date? And it may be that I have to focus more on building the YouTube, for example, load today's session and part of my one-on-one. You'll see up the top here, I've got my little share the list, as well as, well, what color do you want? It's a printable list, and I can also email the list as well. So as part of the sharing, you could share that with your senior leader, and as part of creating that link, it will come up in their list for them to be able to keep an eye out on how you're going. Now this here in itself is just a simple line, but I can take it a step further. Any one of the tasks that I actually click on allows me to be able to come in and add further information. So it could be files, maybe it's your KPI and your plans of things that you need to be going through. You could put all sorts of attachments, or you need to discuss a proposal, or you need to, so you might actually add information in here, or maybe you've just put it as a link down in notes. So when I add a file, for example, it's going to go, well, which file do you actually want? Is it assigned to yourself? Okay, so you could assign it maybe to someone else. You could do a senior leader list, and in this list, because it's shared, you could assign it to them. Okay. So you could have a list even. You could do it for your team through to do. But is it the best place to potentially do team management? Well, it's not going to give you the Kanban view and board, for example. It's not going to put it on a, kind of a calendar visual schedule for you. So there are things that it's going to limit down. So if you want to take it kind of to the next level, that's when you'll start to go up on the planner. You do have all your repeats. You've got your due dates, you've got your reminders, and you can go add to my date something I need to do. So any one of these you could come back through and go add to the day. So you can come from my day, or you can come from the actual list that's actually been assigned to whoever that is. Okay. So I could go, I'm going to add, create an invitation link, invite by email, copy. I could just send this over in my Teams chat, for example. Okay. And then I can also manage the access after the fact. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an idea around the tasks here. Let's then flow over. If I'm over in Outlook, for example, and I want to send off this link to everyone as part of today's session, for example, you'll see in OneNote. So I'm over in OneNote. I actually have my Outlook tasks here. So I can go, I want to set this to today to actually remind me. Now, what will happen is, well, I've just ticked it. I don't want to tick it yet. I can either tick it on and off. This will flow through. You'll see here, set it up. Now open this task over in Outlook. So it's now flowing over to Outlook for me. I'll come over. Here it is. with the link back to OneNote. Send this link to everyone. What do I want to do? Is it started? Yeah, look, I've actually done it. It's in progress. You're going to get it in a minute. Okay. You can see here, maybe set me a reminder that's going to come up. Which reminder you want is a little playing a sound. I'm going to set that to 11 o'clock when we hit the end, just as a reminder towards the end, or 11, maybe even 10:45, save and close. So what happens is that's now sitting in Outlook. That is actually going to flow over into to do. And if I put it and I go, in my day, it's not going to be here because I haven't set it to my day. Okay, but it will be in tasks now and flowing through. There it is, send link, because it was the latest. It's to the top of the list. And I could then mark this as important. So this is that whole, does it pick it up from OneNote? Yes, yeah, absolutely, it picks it up from OneNote. So if you've got team meeting notes, so a great place to go in OneNote is go and put, what does the agenda, what does the notes look like? What do you need to do? What do they need to do? Your tasks that get assigned to you and that you can set as task management in OneNote will flow through right up into your to-do list for the day. So it's all, the one thing that's brilliant about the Microsoft ecosystem is it's so integrated. That's what I love about it. You could bring in Trello, for example, and yes, there are other technologies that will actually line up in, and you can drop into the micro ecosystem, but is it as integrated as what this is? You might not get all of the features as maybe some of the other technology, but you will get consistency. And you will get it flowing from everywhere. That's the thing that I love about it. And the fact that I can do it on the go from my mobile, and I get reminders in Outlook, and I get, okay. So let's have a look then at some of the next steps. So that's just from Outlook, a really OneNote, I should say. That's just that kind of quick. And I could do that from my phone as well, because I might have team tasks. So then let's go up into Teams. We've got Planner, and you can use the Planner app on your mobile phone, and I will come back to the Planner app on my mobile phone in just a second. Okay. But let's go look at it through Teams. Okay. So I am now up in Teams. This is the Planner app. I've dropped it in as part of a channel. I'm just going to come over down first to tasks by Planner and to do. So I'm going to just start on this one before I go to Planner. So inside Teams, well, how did I get this here? If you go to the ellipsis button, and you actually go and search for tasks in here. Look, I've already put it in. Oh, tasks. Task by Planner or to do. If your organization has enabled it, you should be able to find it there, so you can drop it down on the left-hand rail. That way it allows me to be able to see my work that I need to do of all the different plans and tasks and things that are assigned, no different than to do app on my mobile phone. I've now got it where I go to do my work. So Teams is very much about a place where you go to do, okay? So you'll start to see, here is the send the link, the announcements, the doing up. So I will be in here doing my work, chatting with my team members, focusing on, I can go, okay, what do I need to do? One place to go to get my work done. Okay. Yet I can still do it from my mobile phone on the app. Okay. All these features and functionalities, there all they are. There's the list. And here's also my one-on-ones, for example. Now, because I have Planner, tasks inside Teams is kind of that higher level where it says get Planner and to do and bring it both in together inside tasks. So if I go, I can go jump down to demo tasks in general. So here are all the tasks that actually sit in Planner. So now what's Planner? Let's go have a look at Planner. So I'm going to go up into Teams. I'm going to just jump out of here. I'm going to go into Teams. When I'm working on a project, so say I was looking at a whole program and it's with the champs and we're going to be running some training and I've got some curriculum that I want to do as part of a champs program. If I want to add in Planner, so Planner, remember, is our team tasks. I would come up the top here. I press the plus button. Okay. And in here are different components that you could start to add. You'll see I've got tasks by Planner and I've got lists. So if I go and add in, okay, a tab, which is tasks, then what will happen is I'd get this sort of generic getting myself started and it'll just have to do running across the top. Okay. So I'll just go here, let you get a very generic one. I'll start to go in, tasks. Okay, and it goes create a new plan or an existing plan from somewhere else. I'm just going to create a whole new plan called tasks. Just keep it really simple. And this is what it's going to look like. Very generic, get ready, get started. So I've already started to add in, these are all adjustable. I can start to add in what we class as a bucket. This allows me to kind of sort of categorize into a group and keep things together to be able to see. Now I've got different views as part of my task management. Now, whether I'm here or I can go online, if I wanted to, I can go and have a look at this online on the website. So this is all sitting also up in office.com. So if I didn't have access to Teams, or maybe I didn't have it, with my mobile phone and I'm on someone else's PC, I can do the login to the internet, log into my account and go and see all my tasks, no matter where I am. It's the beauty of being in the cloud. So this is based on a board list. These are those sort of Kanban, give us a board. What have I got to do? I've got lots here that's actually been assigned to myself or my support, which is Les. Okay. So I've got what are all the things in the planning? What are all the things in materials, pilot? Now, when I'm adding a task, it's basic. Okay. So I just go add in, what am I due, and assign. But after I've added and I've assigned someone in, I can have more than one person, by the way. So you might be working together. If I go and open one of these tasks up, so it starts from a really kind of a basic list, but I can extend it out and start to have a look at it a little bit more. If I tick it, it's classed as done. Okay. You could actually state, I'm in progress. I have completed. Now I've got a due date that I put in, but it might be I don't need to start this until Monday. Adding a label just gives us another way to categorize it. So as a team, I could then edit and go, so for red, I might actually mark it as urgent. Or maybe it's about a client, for example. Okay. So when let me go edit, I need to go my labels. Let me just go edit red and go urgent. Helps if I don't copy and paste. Let's do this again. Go and click happy. Red. Urgent, enter. Okay, so I could go assign this as urgent. So now I start to get labels that I can, it kind of gives you another way to filter, another way to be able to search and sort and bucket, okay, as I work through. I have notes, I have checklists. So part of the planning, for example, for this, I can have other ongoing sub lists as part of my planning. You'll see here, what I want to do, develop the training course, and course types, it might be, chat with client about expectations. It could have been set up the meeting, for example, who needs to come. So I have all these little checklists that I can show on the card. So you start to see them coming over here on the left. Any comments and any attachments. Maybe you've also got to book a room for the event, and it might have a particular document, for example, that you need to fill out and you want to put it here for someone else to work with. So this is how I can start to build out my task management. All these tasks can be copied and moved, and you can even copy whole planners so that you can use them as a template again and again and again on a project. So you don't have to rebuild this or think about it along the way. So here we go. I start to then get my information. I have, signed off. I've got the workshop requirements. I've developed. I've started to complete some of this. Let's have a look. So I'm grouping by bucket. Who is it assigned to? So I can go, well, is it assigned to me, Les? Who wasn't it? Now, what often happens is, and I have teams come to me a lot around productivity, or I'll be chatting with them. And I've actually had staff members say to me, how can I stop him from calling me? And I go, I'm sorry, who? I go, my senior leader. He's phoned me. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Let me have a look. He has phoned me 31 times today. I was like, what? And I went, what's going on? He goes, it's a micromanager. And I go, okay. I said, how transparent are you being as a team? And he goes, well, what do you mean? And I go, do you have all your tasks somewhere that he can see? Can he see where you're at, what you're doing? Does he know where you're up to? You know, what does that look like? Has he got a to-do list that he can look at? Is it in Planner as a part of the team? If he's got no visibility, especially in this day of remote working, then people are going to struggle. So, you know, what's your use case for using something like this? It's all about transparency. Do you know what I often see in meetings, and the reason why this becomes really, really valuable as part of team task management is, you know, one, what are you all doing? Why, you know, if we had that board where you walked past and you had them on the floor and it was the Kanban with all the whiteboard, it was usually so that you could see as a team where you were at. No different, except now it's in virtual. And what happens then when you get into your meeting, you spend the more time looking on the here and now and the future rather than the past of what you've done. So what would happen, this guy would also say, and I'd asked him, I said, what do you do when you get into your meeting with them? I just tell you about everything I've done for the last hour, or did I get it done, or where is it at? Or I said, you know, you can put all the notes in, you know, you can put the information, you can put links in to what you're doing, and he can then just visually go in and see. Okay, so what happens is you're not focused on the past in a meeting where you've spent the first 30 minutes going over what you've done in the last week, and you spend more focused on, was that completed? Yes. Are all the notes in there? Yes. Can I review it? Yes. Okay, let's focus on where we're at. Unless there was anything in particular that was a problem or you need to bring up, then focus on the here and now and the future. Yeah, okay. So that's the difference between the working out loud with something like this for your team tasks and even your personal tasks for a senior leader, so that they don't, you know, especially if they're a micromanager. And look, in this day and age, it's been a bit harder, especially with remote working, to be the micromanager, but it has led then to a lot of anxiety or neglect is another flip of it, where we just don't know and we kind of go, I don't know, I just assume that they're doing what they need to do, and then you find out they're really not, and it can cause problems. Okay, so how do you manage your team? How do you manage the individual a little better? How do you manage the project and what your client needs, or that sort of thing? Okay, so when we go assigned by, we can change it around. And when we go into that meeting, we can go, well, where are we at on a progress? You know, if it's not even started, you might go, hang on a second, this is on our list. It's not started at all. That's fine. Well, let's focus on, did we complete it? Okay, I don't want to focus unless there's an issue. Where are we at in progress? Do we have something in particular that we want to do? The reminder or distribution or start booking, you can go, well, okay, where are we at? Attain local points of contact. Okay, I'm in progress. Let me just flick it over. Put in some notes in regards to, I've found the local point of contact, but I'm waiting on him to get back to me, for example. So it comes over, put your notes in, so you can start to focus on the now, and then focus on, well, what's important. Now, on the not started, I would probably then flick over and go based on a due date. Okay, it's not started, but it's due today, tomorrow, on Monday. Is there anything here we need to escalate? Is there anything for the future that we need to look at and escalate? How are we going in terms of tracking? Okay, by due date. This is the great part. Unlike a board that you walk up to where it's all laid out for you, it's very difficult to manipulate the data to give you what you want, or show me based on the labels, which could be all sorts of things. Show me urgent, show me, okay, show me where we're at. And then based on potentially a priority. Now, priority, if it was urgent, you might also have marked it as important, okay? So low, medium, important, priority. Gives you different ways to be able to work with your team. I can just have it on a straight list. So I could set my task here and start to then just type it all in based on a straight list, rather than going in and out of all those little quick board type. Okay. I then have my, let's just come back to schedule. So it could be, man, we got 20 things to do today, or maybe it was 20 things for one person to do today. You kind of go, let's have a look at that. Okay, so you can actually see it on a calendar. Now I've got it based on charts. These are things that I could even take snippets of and put it into a project report for senior leadership, for example. This is where we're at, the bucket list of what I've got, how many things for each component. Okay, and as we go down, priorities and members, you'll see here who's got what. The great part is they do list them all out over here. And I can even start to filter. So I've got grouping, and whether I was on any one of those, whether it's a list, a board, a chart, a schedule, I can start to go, just show me everything that's late. Why are we late? What do we need to do about it? Okay, so if I go, show me something that's late, I got nothing that's late. Show me everything that's today. Okay, nothing today, or tomorrow, or this week, or next week. Okay, oh, next week, this is where we've got to start on it all. Okay. You'll see here priorities. Show me, Les is away. She's going on leave for the next week. She's taking an early holiday. Can you show me? And I could just go clear all and just go, show me everything that's for Les. Okay. Is there anything that's going to be due that's within the next week? Because, you know, who I need to reassign it to, for example. So as a team, I start to get more control over what's going on. Now, if I have a look at this on my mobile phone, for example, so I can work on the go on my mobile phone. So here we go. What have we got in here? Planning, team, tasks. I'm on the planning bucket. Okay. So I could go, what bucket am I on? Let's go to materials. Pilot. I'm just sweeping across training from left to right. I could add in a whole new bucket, because after training might then be follow-up. It's all the feedback, for example. You might put a feedback in and start to build out feedback. If I have it all in a SharePoint list, the great part is I can actually export this to Excel, and you can even import from Excel into a SharePoint list. So if you've got all this already in Excel, because a lot of times we deal with it inside Excel rather than in the past, that's where we might have done all our project management. We can go over into Excel and bring it up. Now, if I go in, I've got all my different ones in terms of my plans in different places. Okay, so I can see them. What are all my tasks? Okay, start to then filter. It will then flow through in terms of tasks. Okay, in terms of not started, in progress, completed. Okay, where am I at on my hub? And I have settings that come as a part of it. And up the top, you'll see a plus button. Create a new planner hub. Same within here. So I can search up the top, members, settings, copy links, grouping by, all here on my mobile phone. So if I have an Excel, let me just minimize that. Show you all the interactions. So in here, I've got it in Excel. As part of Excel, it does need to be in a table. You could export the lists that you have. So when I go over into training lists, I could export this up into lists. So if I have a list, let's have a look at lists. Whether I'm coming from my Excel or I'm online or I'm on. So if I bring up here, I've got my online. Here's my hubs. So if I come in, I have extra features and functionalities that I could have in here that's online that I don't actually have on my desktop. Okay. As part of my planner, you'll see here exporting, copying the plan, adding it. What are your plan settings? Links to the plans. Add a plan to an Outlook calendar, for example, as a team. So those features and functionalities come from online. If I was in Teams, I get to that by just clicking on up the top here. I actually just click on the go to the website. You'll see them all up here. There are some, but not all. The export, for example, is not there. You will need to go online to your browser, like here, to actually be able to do some extra features and functionalities as a part of these plans and moving through. So when I then go to finalize, and just the last one, let's come back in here. When I want to have a list, let's have a look at lists. So lists is more about information kind of tracking. For example, I'm just going back over in here for a moment. So the lists app allows us, as part of the templates, let's just come in, Shift F5, so we can look at it from here. So you got the import from Excel, which I've brought that Excel list up, and I'll show you how to do it from there. It does sit inside Teams. It is a SharePoint functionality. It does have filtering and views and color formatting with all these ready-made templates. Okay. Some of the ready-made templates, and there are more that are coming, and you'll see some of the industry-specific ones that are coming in terms of event management as well. Great part about event itinerary, so you can go, what do I need for event management? So this is kind of a task list, but it's a list that goes, as I said, a little bit further to be able to take it. Okay. So these ready-made, let's have a look at some of the ready-made. And if you are not sure in terms of some of the ready-made, let's have a look. So I can go plus button, let's go, and I want to bring in lists, and it goes, do you want to have a new one? Let's just show you. Yep, so I'm going to go save. So I'm dropping it in to my tab for my team. You've got create a list or add an existing. Let me just go create so you can see it. So these templates, a blank list from Excel or from an existing list elsewhere. So this means you can copy your lists. These are the various templates that you saw over there in PowerPoint. Now, when I choose one of these, whatever it happens to be, so we're currently doing an event, for example. Each one comes with specific columns to be able to support you. And this is what it would look like. Session, codes, meals, descriptions. It's just a little bit of an idea, and you can customize all these columns. So they can all be customized. So I've got my list already here that I've put in terms of some issues register we need to go to. Let's go my issues tracker. So I've just put one in to get started. So here I've got my different views, and I can edit in grids. Okay. Now these columns are all part of a Sharepoint list. And I can add in other columns to be able to support, same as you would over in Sharepoint. With each one that I add in, so if I wanted to have a look at this particular one, I'm just doing a double click on it. I've got my task, priority, who's it's assigned, is it old? I've even added in an image. That image allows me to see what's going on. A file list to be able to support, assigned, new, reporting. Now each column comes with, of course, different content you might want to put in. But the beauty of this is it allows me to be able to track it really simply and easily. Now this has got so much included as part of it. I highly recommend going online and having a really good look in and deep diving down into lists and how you can work with it. Great for asset management. It's a way to be able to support you, and whether you're doing it across, from your phone, if you wanted to, have a look at working with lists on your phone, for example. Okay. So I've got it sitting in here. I can start to filter it on my phone. I've got different grouping, working items. Okay, progress tracker. Here is my issues. Okay, this is the one I was just in, broken YouTubes. It's available on the go from my phone as an app on its own, or I could be working inside the team and see it inside a team as well. Okay. So here we go. We've got different ways. So issues and the lists take it to a whole nother level. When we look at it, you'll see if I go and open it in Sharepoint, for example. So let's go up online. Okay. Actually, let's go open it from here. Open it in Sharepoint. So when I go up online, you'll see here the difference is because I am in Sharepoint, it does have those complexities. Automate, okay? Creating rules, managing rules, fully integrated into Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, so you can visualize the list in Power BI. Now, these are things in terms of Planner that support you to take it to the next level, for example. Okay. So that's something to be able to deep dive in terms of management. So we've got document management. To support you, there is some really great information around there on how to do all of this. I've put a ton of different links, choosing the right tool when managing your work. This was a little sort of when to use what that was provided as part of the tech community. Don't forget, you can access it from any device, whatever that looks like. Here you go, send it. There's my little reminder telling it to stand up, knock me about at the end, send the link. If you can see it down the bottom, I've got my snooze complete. Okay, I'm just going to snooze. Thanks very much. Things around lists. Now, because I actually had the team come in, Aaron Lum came and actually spoke with us. Lots of really great information there and resources around lists for you. And there's also demos as well. So Microsoft have put demos that make it that much easier for you to be able to work. These are all the task management and some of the how-tos on task management for to-do, and then our planner resources. And there is a ton of planner. I've just put a couple in to be able to support you around planner. But remember, ultimately, the true power of any of this is about changing the way that you work. It's not so much about the technology. It's really about the different things that you can do as part of working. And, you know, some of it is really simple in its basics of to do, through to getting a little bit more complex in planner, to getting into the keeping it simple but taking it extremely complex should you wish to across Microsoft lists. And that's a whole nother session that can be run by the reactor around working with lists. Okay. Any questions, thoughts and comments? You know, there's some really awesome information in terms of deep diving around it. Happy to help and support you along the way. Thank you very much for joining us at the Reactor to be able to support you in this journey. Hopefully you've enjoyed the session and it's given you, thanks very much, Jessica, around the practical approaches for task management. You know, that's what it's all about. You know, and you know, I use it so much for so many different things that make life fun, including doing up a room. Okay, I'm going to go out, I'm going to go to Bunnings, and these are all the things that I need. And I've got my OneNote with screenshots and pictures and design and measurements that I've done up with my pen and all the task management and shopping lists and, you know, some really great stuff that you can actually do with it on a both personal and professional level. So thanks for joining, everyone. Don't forget, please fill in the feedback form. Don't forget the resources are actually there and available for you. And the adoption user group has already sort of presented. One of the things that you can do inside Teams on any comment, even, for example, is even set it as a task. And it flows through as well. That was the one thing. Okay, so you can go actions, create a task. Okay. So all those resources, if you go up a little bit further, it's got the resources in chat, Dan, and you can click on, it's got a little code there to be able to get to all the resources from this session. Okay, so what else have we got here? Question. Let me come back. I see some questions flowing through. Happy to answer questions. Here we go. Can you assign a task in to do without creating a Sharepoint list, as you can do in desktop version of Outlook? To do, yes, you can assign a task in to do. Absolutely, you can. So that whole, you saw there was a little assign button as part of the task. So if I go send this link, I'll go in. Okay. So depending on send this link to everyone as a part of today. So if I create a task, send, you saw the one with the senior leader. Let me open it up. Okay. So if it's, oh, you mean as in, can I do it here? So I could share it. The to do is a little bit more around your tasks. But if you're working with someone else, you'd actually have it as a shared one. So if it was a shared one, like in your one-on-ones, the moment it's shared, that's when you can actually assign it to them. So it needs to be something where if you're a team and you're a group together, then you can go, who is it assigned to? Assign. It's not like with Outlook where it's based on send it to this particular email and it's a task. But, you know, if it was in tasks, don't forget it does flow into here. And because it flows into here, you'll be able to see it based on assigning, and that information will flow in as well. So if that helps. Okay. You're in the web version of the browser, so not sure if you have it. You absolutely do. So if you just go into office.com, as part of your office.com, I'll show you. So you do have all of your apps. So if I go to all apps, you'll be able to see all your apps. Or if I just go, you know, over to Office, show all my apps in here. So you've got all apps, Office 365 apps. Depending on your subscription model, we've got lists, we've got to do, okay, and we've got then our planner. Okay. They're all there in the web-based version, and you'll be able to put them onto your mobile phone in terms of the app. Just go into the store on your mobile phone. Whether you've got your Apple or an Android, you'll be able to bring those down onto your phone to be able to work with across your phone as well. Okay. So on the check-in page, so you'll see Sarah has kindly put the check-in page there, which is the aka.ms, and then Reactor check-in, event code 14979. That's then all of your resources for the session. So you'll be able to see those resources pages that I've actually put together. Thanks, Jessica, for putting another link. Look, there is a lot of links. If you go into the tech community, and as part of the links that I've put in my resources, it's actually to the links community. There's also an adoption portal there as well for all things lists, if you're rolling out lists internally, to be able to help and support you, including I've put in training and all sorts of content as well to be able to support you around lists. So if you want to dive into that just a little bit more, if I come back to lists here, okay, I'm going to snooze it for another 5 minutes. Okay, lists to end user documentation, the full resources. Okay, here is your adoption site to be able to help roll out your lists. Okay, what else have we got? Any other questions? Let me come back. Okay, my connected apps in to do with disable, so just need to enable them. Yeah, fight for enablement. Great for personal productivity. Okay. It is an awesome one, and because it feeds through into Outlook, it really goes from there. Okay. So yes, if you don't have a subscription and you're just on the free version, Dan, to do, you can do your login to do. I believe to do is free, if I remember rightly, as an app, because you can do it based on your personal and just your standard email. If you've got an email address that's actually assigned as a Microsoft enabled email address, so any email address can be a Microsoft assigned email address, you can actually have it then as a personal in to do, so you can use it for a personal. Okay, hopefully that helps.
Great, thanks so much, Kirsty, and thank you to everybody for tuning in. As mentioned, the check-in link is in the comment section there. 14979. So that's where you'll be able to get all these resources. And
Defo
survey link as well. That's about it. It's covered everything else. So thank you so much. It's really handy tools I can use for my productivity. And hopefully see you here for another part of the activity series. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Have a good rest of your afternoon, morning, wherever you join us. And we'll see you next time.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Thanks all.